A while ago, I was having a conversation with one of my mentors, and he gave me an opportunity to ask him three basic questions. And one of the things that I asked him was, why do you travel around the world? Why are you always in church on time? Why are you always dedicated to everything you're doing? Why are you still working so hard despite that you have companies that are paying? Why are you still committed to what you do despite that your children are well educated and they're out there doing their stuff? And he gave me a story. He gave me a story. He told me about a man that came on earth. Was here for 30 years, but in 3 years time he completed so much, and he left a legacy that has continued to impact generation after generation. Even to date, nothing has been able to stop against that movement. You realize that there are people that have tried to stop presidents, kings, empires, and nobody has been able to shut down the movement that they began. I'm talking about Jesus Christ. And we had a long conversation, and I told him I don't still feel answered, and because looking at him, he's still journaling, he's still doing diaries, he's still writing, he's still he's still keeping time, and it's somebody that you wouldn't really think that at his level, at a global space, he would be doing all these things. And one of the things that he told me was that, Peter, I am intentional about my becoming. I am intentional about the next generation. The reason for my discipline is because I am intentional. Everything I do is, I have an intent. I have a goal. I have a purpose. I know where I am heading to. And this caught my attention, and I kept asking myself, how many times am I intentional about something that I set up to work on? And I began to ask him a few things about a project that he's doing. And you realize that as early as 3 a.m. is already on the feet, is moving, is inspecting all these things. And I began to even think at a global scale. Economies like Singapore, Japan, China, America, and so forth, is that they were built by people that were intentional. And this is what happens every time we are intentional about the things that matter to us. You will never change the world if you are not intentional. A thief has to be very intentional if they are coming to grasp something out of your life. And this is the difference between failures and the successful. The first thing that you have to do is you have to be intentional. Be intentional about your goals. Be intentional about your relationships. Be intentional about the calling of God that is placed on you. Sometimes you hear people say, I resigned from this job and I got very intentional about business. And look at me now. Many years down the line, they say they're making lots of profits. And this is the message I'm passing to my fellow youths. Be intentional about your life. Be intentional about your salvation. Be intentional about the things that make you matter. Blessings, your brother Peter Mutuku here. God bless you. Keep it. Be intentional.